Today on the grid, we are talking about why learning photography is so darn hard. Why it's harder than it needs to be. Plus, we have a very special guest Skyping in. Marc Silber, author of the brand new book, Create, is going to be here. And of course, Erik, the Kuna man, the Rocket Man Kuna is here. And it all starts in just 60 seconds. The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full-frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com. And Profoto, the light shaping company. Check out the Profoto B1X. Powered all the right places. Go to profoto.com/US. And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com. Brad.
Here, wait.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. I just realized that one of our chairs always makes you sit real low, and right as the intro is counting in, I look at Erik, and Eric's like way up in the sky. I'm like, I've got the baby chair, don't I? Mm-hmm. Anyway, welcome everybody. We are so glad you're here. Today, we've got a special guest joining us, Marc Silber, who's author of the brand new book, Create. He's going to be joining us a little later in the broadcast.
And look what we have to give away on the show today.
No, we're not giving that away. That's my brand new lens. It just came in. No. We do have stuff to give away. No, JK, hashtag JK. Hey, my new lens came in. So this is the Canon 24 to 240. I haven't even opened it yet. I've saved it for the grid. But we're going to open it right now. It's for my new mirrorless EOS R, which I have here on the Saturuni. Which way do I point?
You have that with
which
the
way do I
16
point?
to 35.
Nobody knows. Yeah, I have that with the 16 to 35, but it has the adapter. And so because this was made for Canon mirrorless, it will not need the adapter. It's my first lens that does not need an adapter to use with the mirrorless. So I'm very excited. We're going to open that in just a moment. We have some giveaways today. We're going to give away my book, the landscape book. This thing just came out a few months ago. Mm-hmm. It is already in its third printing. It has been one of my best-selling books in years. I'm very excited and very grateful to
that short amount of time.
Everyone that's bought it. Yeah, it's like in a few months, it's like crazy. And then we have the Platypod Max. If you have a camera and you want to shoot in places you shouldn't, get a Platypod Max. That should be their slogan.
Yeah. Especially if you have like a 200 to 400.
Yeah, because
that's what you need.
This bad boy, you can stick anything on this thing.
Anything.
So you stick that with you'll see their commercial a little later, but you put a tripod on it, and it just, you can get it in sneaky places. And I took it to some sneaky places in the last few months. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's that. We kind of have an interesting topic, and it's why learning photography is harder than it needs to be.
This has been a lunchtime conversation for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we got into this yesterday.
And then this, and then this, yeah.
And also, I want to show off something today, and I'm not showing off the lens. No. I'm showing off my I Love Wood Chippers shirt. There you go. I'm going to stand up and show it. I Love Wood Chippers. Tim Wallace. So where's that? Let me get my chair. My chair took off. Whoa, my chair is way back there. So where this comes from, I'm back. Can I move my seat up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. No, you leave yours where it's
at. No, I lowered
mine. No, don't do that.
Where did it go?
There you go. Sorry, a lot of maneuvering, and then the chairs roll, so you have to pull yourself back to the set. All right. So look now, I'm taller than Erik. This is good. Anyway, so we're at Photoshop World in Orlando. So not the one that was just a few weeks ago, but the one that was earlier in the summer. Mm-hmm. And we did a panel called The Art of Digital Photography. Tim was one of the panelists, and Tim's showing all these amazing pictures of cars. It's like, Aston Martins and these crazy supercars and yachts and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, but I also shoot some other stuff. And he brings up a wood chipper. And in a way that only Tim could do. He said it, and it was so funny. It broke the whole place. It stopped the whole thing where he said, I love wood chippers. But he said it.
He's so serious.
He was so serious, and he had this little smirk on his face. And I swear, it just brought the house down. And so he sent me this shirt. Thank you very much, Tim, because I too
look at these shots of wood chipper parts, right?
He's got the best looking wood chipper shots you've ever seen.
And he's like, yeah, they pay well. It's great.
Yeah, but this is a guy who's shooting all these crazy supercars, and he goes,
wood chippers.
I love wood chippers. But he said it in his accent with his dry sense of humor. Oh, my gosh.
Look at this. That is a wood. Like, you want to buy that.
I want to buy that. I've never wanted to buy a wood chipper in my entire life until I saw that shot.
Wood chipper. Right?
Anyway.
It makes the wood chipper look sexy.
So I wanted to honor him by wearing that shirt today. All right, lots of stuff going on. Let's go ahead and open the lens, shall we?
Yes.
So I've been waiting for this one. You know, they announced it a while back. And I do want to tell you a little story about why I like this lens. So I was actually at Canon maybe a year ago or so. No, it was about a year and a half ago. And I got in front of some guys that work on the Canon lenses, and I said, I need you guys to make a new lens. I need you to make a 28-300.
Yeah,
I had a
Nikon has that.
Nikon had a
awesome
28-300, and it's under $1,000.
Yep.
It's very, very sharp. And I said, you guys, Canon has one, but the Canon one is old, and it's this big. It's 3.8 pounds, and it's so old it doesn't even zoom like this. You have to pull it and push it. It's like manual. It's like from the Stone Age. I'm surprised it's not steam powered. Anyway,
and it's like 17,000 pounds.
Yeah, and it's like $2,800. Like, no one's going to buy this lens, right? And they said, so you want a 28-300? I'm like, yes, please. And they said, would you prefer a 24-240? And I said, no, I want a 28-300.
And then he thought about it, right?
Here's what they said. The guy says to me, he goes, well, look, if it's 240, you can crop it to whatever you want. A little tiny crop will give you 300.
300, yeah.
A little crop will give you a 350, 400. Yeah, a little crop will give you 300. He said you can crop it into whatever you want. You can make your picture like it was taken with a 400, a 500, a 600.
Especially when you're running up in those 40, 50, 60 megapixels.
Oh, yeah. So then he says, but you can't make a lens any wider than it is. So do you want 28, which, by the way, nobody makes a 28 millimeter lens, right? Everybody makes 24s, right?
Yeah, it's 24-70,
right.
24-105.
In fact, Nikon came out and announced the 24 millimeter today, $1,000 for 24. And he goes, do you want a 28 or do you want a 24? Now, 24 is a sweet spot for a lot of people. It's very popular on landscapes. If you buy a 24-70, you didn't buy it for the 70. You bought it for the 24.
I hope you bought it for the 24.
Yeah. So he says, do you want a 24-240 or a 28-300? I'm sold. Absolutely. 24-240. And here it is. Oh, let's open it.
Yes.
First time opening it. Got it from B&H.
So this is your first.
Yeah, just for everyone that's going to write me tomorrow and say, oh, Canon, sure, if Canon sends you your lenses for free, I bought it from B&H. It
came in the mail.
It actually
was delayed a day by FedEx.
Was delayed a day by FedEx.
All right, there's a lot of weather going on.
A lot of weather going on. Ooh. Bubble wrap. They just literally just put it in bubble wrap. Let's grab it in here. Now, I've never, of course, shot this lens. This is the first time. Well, it's not true. It's not the first time I've seen it.
Yes.
A guy came to my Boston seminar, and he had just gotten his. And he showed it to me, so I did get to see it. Let's take a look. Ooh. Hey, look how much newer this lens looks than the older lenses, right?
Yeah.
It's got that nice new kind of matte finish look to it. It looks very space age. Anyway, so here's what's nice about it, and here's why I'm so psyched about this lens. Number one, so I'm going to go to China next week for my workshop. You guys probably remember mentioning that on here. So it's next week. And so I don't want to take a 70-200. This is half the weight of a 70-200. Half the size, half the weight. It's very lightweight, actually. In fact, I wonder if it's as much as my 16-30. So the 16-35, for me to use it, I have to use an adapter. So there's actually an adapter on here. So look how long it is. My 16-35 was equally as long because I have to use this adapter. So every time I want to use one of my existing Canon lenses, I have to put this adapter and carry this adapter.
No, but you can use any existing Canon lens.
Almost any Canon lens, right? But now I don't have to do that. I can just, here we go. For the first time, we're putting it on. Dun, 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 dun. New lens cap even. Slick looking lens cap. For the rear element here, let's turn this thing around. Let's put it on. Ooh. Boom. That looks nice. Ooh la la. It's locked, right?
Locked, right over here.
Yeah, where's the lock?
Right
okay.
over there.
So I'm going to be taking with me to China just this.
And that?
And just this. That'll be it. I will have everything covered from 16 all the way to 240.
16 all the way about 400 with how you crop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be 16 to 400.
But anyway, isn't that nice?
There you go.
And it's nice and light, but it feels good. I like it. Now, I've not taken a single shot with it, but I've read reviews on this.
Yeah,
I read a review
last
week that the guy said it is so sharp that it was the reason to switch to mirrorless. That's what he said.
So how's the weight difference between this one
let's see.
And that
You
one?
tell me.
All right. Well, definitely this one's lighter.
You think it's lighter than 16 to 35?
It's pretty close.
I haven't tried.
It's pretty close.
Let me see.
If not, it's exact.
I don't know. I think it feels a little heavier. But it's
Maybe.
close. It's
very
probably
close.
off by an ounce or so.
Yeah, it could be just which hand you have it in. It's almost the same weight. Put it that way. Now, if you put this on it.
Oh yeah, now it's
going to be on it.
Yeah, now I'd have to put that on it. Now it's going to be heavier for sure.
Because you can't shoot. You got to shoot it this way.
Oh yeah, now this is heavier for sure. So no, it's not heavy. It's not super lightweight, but it's not heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Paul's asking no hood. So yes, there's no hood.
There is a hood. You have to buy it separately. What kind
of crap
is
hood
that?
with it.
So I forgot to order mine. Now I got to go order my hood. Maybe I'll do that on the break. Yeah, I got to order one. So Tom Sheehan asks, there's no red L-ring lens. What is the f-stop range? I believe the f-stop range is f4 to f6.3. Is that correct?
Yep. F4.
So it's f4 to 6.3.
Image stabilization.
And it has image stabilization. It's supposed
motor.
to have really good image stabilization. What else was it? Well, really just the sharpness. I think the sharpness of the lens.
Is what a lot of people are talking about.
If you get a really, really good sharp lens, and now, I mean, look at this. That's my rig for going to China for 10 days.
Awesome.
So
now, somebody's asking, so does somebody at least win the box?
No.
Okay.
I have to keep the box, so when it breaks, I can ship it back to Canon.
There you go.
I can't believe I got to go order a lens hood, though.
That is a little bit. That's weird. That's weird.
What do they call that in football? Ticky tacky. That's a little.
That's
come
a little
on.
tacky.
Yeah, come on.
A little tacky.
Anyway, so we have
how much was it?
I got it for $8.99. It's supposed to be, I think, $1,100, but there's an instant rebate at B&H.
Yeah, $8.99 and no little plastic $3 lens hood.
You could throw in a lens hood. Now, of course, let's go see what it costs. I can't imagine it's going to be too cheap.
I know.
Let me go look on B&H. We'll see what it costs. While I'm looking it up.
Well, we got a lot of people joining us around the world. We got Gary Gals saying hello from the Philippines.
All right.
It's 4 a.m. Good morning. And then Martin saying hello from the Slovak Republic. Hey, Martin. And then Perry saying hi from Germany. We got Riverside Ronnie in the house from all the way from California. We got Warren saying hi from very hot California, as well as Deb saying hi from a very hot California. And then Alan saying, hello, Gritsters, greeting from Denver, Colorado. So we got all over the world representing.
I swear I think I ordered this lens hood. I got to go look. I'm serious.
It's $34.
It's $34.95. It's $35. But I'm telling you, I swear I think my card is empty. That's not great.
No, you're going to have to go load it in.
No, but I swear I think I ordered it. I think
maybe it's on back order or something. They
well,
didn't make
funny.
enough lens
No,
hoods.
actually, it says it is on pre-order. It's expected. Release is tomorrow.
Yeah,
so I got to go look at my account and see. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to make it to China in time.
Yeah.
To China. But let me see. Let me just go look at my orders and see if I ordered it. Nope. Oh, wait. Recently viewed.
Yeah, so you looked at it.
I viewed it.
And then you went, I'm not spending $34 on a lens.
No, I am spending $34. Sadly, right this minute, it's going in my cart.
Going in the cart.
Now it's in my cart, so I got to get it. All right. Anyway, I don't want to take up showtime to do that, but it's in my cart. I'm about to pull the trigger, but it still says pre-order. Weird. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to actually hit into our topic, which is why learning photography is harder than it needs to be. We have Marc Silber joining us all the way from somewhere in California, and we probably have some shout outs and stuff.
I'll tell you why it's taking so hard to learn. It's because you're spending $35 on a lens hood.
Good point. Good point.
All right.
So if you've ever been out on location and wondering, where's the sun going to be? Where's the moon going to be? Where's the Milky Way going to intersect? This is where we can plan, and we can go in specifically and look at dates and exact locations and get you into the best scenario to get the shot you want. We're really going to dive into how to use a tool like PhotoPills to really design where that light's going to fall on your subject, how that light's going to be in the environment around you, and then getting into how to calculate in the right exposures for capturing star trails or capturing star points, getting into the nitty-gritty of everything you need to do to master how to harness the power of the sun and the moon and the Milky Way illuminating your scene. So join me, Erik Kuna, at KelbyOne.com, where we teach you about PhotoPills and how to harness the power of light.
Hi, I'm Dave Williams. I'm a travel photographer, and that means I spend my time traveling the world taking photos, and I have to make money from it. Wouldn't you love to make money from your vacation photos too? Every photo in this magazine and every other magazine you see comes from somewhere, and there's no reason these photos can't come from you. It's every photographer's dream to make money from their photography, whether it's to buy a house or just to buy a new lens. I'm going to take you through it in this brand new class. I'm going to talk about Instagram influencing, about direct marketing, about microstock. I'm going to show you who to reach out to and how. And I'm going to show you what sells and why, and how to network the right way to get it done. I'll also show you the compositional techniques you need, the things you need to consider so that your photo sells, including the color and the tone that maybe you didn't consider before. So join me in my brand new class at KelbyOne, How to Make Money from Your Vacation Photos.
When you need a tripod that is compact, that is portable enough to take with you anywhere, one that is adaptable to any situation, that will prove versatile enough for any shoot, and is compatible with your other gear, giving you freedom to create your own perspective. Look no further. Platypod Ultra does it all. Visit platypod.com for more info.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Really?
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik, the real Rocket Man Kuna.
And we got more people joining us from around the world. We got Arnie saying hello from the UK.
Hey, Arnie.
We got Stefan saying hello from Sweden. We got Daniel over there saying hello to Scott and Erik from Zurich, Switzerland. We got Jackie saying hello from Miami, Florida. Then we got Mike saying hi from Jersey. We got David all the way from Alabama.
Roll Tide.
And then we got James all the way from Wyoming. So,
all right.
All over the place.
Glad to have you guys here. So yesterday, Erik and I were at lunch. We're just chatting about stuff. And I was telling him, I said, I'm looking on the web and somebody's got a YouTube video. You know how YouTube's always like suggesting videos to you?
Yep.
This person had a video, and they were talking about shooting in dappled light.
Yes.
So dappled light is when you're standing under a tree and you have these little spots of light all over you. And it's generally considered to not be a good thing. Like I tell people in my seminars, in my books and stuff.
Keyword being generally considered.
Yeah, it's considered, especially if you're new, don't shoot in dappled light. I mean, just because all it takes to get that nice, smooth, even light, which is, doesn't that sound better?
But
nice,
Scott,
smooth, even light?
But Scott, I have a picture that looks awesome in dappled light. You're just wrong.
So that's what I see. No, I wasn't the person that did the video.
I know.
But this guy went off on the person, and it was like one of those things, like 3 tips for better photos or something. So it was, they explained why dapple light is bad. And by the way, I totally agree. I teach it myself. I would tell a friend, don't shoot in dapple light. Just move the person over. And I tell people the technique, that I don't know if it's really a technique, but I say, look at your lens and then just move your hand and say, come a little this way. Wait. Because you really have to be looking through the lens, because you can look at them and not see dappled light. And then when you put it through there, now you're at a different perspective and it looks different. You're at a zoom range or whatever. So I hold it up to my eye and I just move can you move this way a little bit? Come towards me. How long does it take to get rid of dapple light? 30 seconds. You can count it. It's usually anywhere between 5 and 10 comments down in anybody's YouTube tutorial is the person that tells you you're all wrong. And this guy goes, you're crazy. It's like some of the greatest portraits made have been dappled. You just have to know how to do it right and all. But you got to realize we're learning photography. So that means you're kind of new at photography. And I'm going to give you another example, same thing. All right. So here you have someone recommending don't shoot in dappled, and then someone arguing that you should shoot in dappled. It can be really amazing. And you probably have seen a dappled light shot of somebody who was really, really good or really, really lucky, and it looked okay. But I'm going to give you the same thing.
That happens.
Also, this weekend, I was telling Erik, I see someone who wrote something I also agree with that says, never, ever, ever shoot a portrait with a 50 millimeter. And they even said, never, ever, ever, ever shoot a portrait with a 50 millimeter. And then go to YouTube and type in portraits with 50 millimeter, and you'll see my go-to lens for portraits, 50 millimeter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you decide which one of those is right? One person is telling you never, 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 and the next YouTube video says it's my go-to portrait lens. This is all over the internet. You can't find two people to agree photographically on anything. And at the end of the day, you'll have people that say you should always shoot in manual. You should never shoot in manual. Why would you shoot in manual if the camera will do some of it for you? You get more control. I don't know if it's just people love to argue, but here's the thing. And this is why I think if you're new to photography, learning photography is harder than it should be.
Absolutely.
Because there is no international federation of this is how it's done. There is no bottom light. It's all opinion. Anything anybody teaches you about photography. Pat Morgan just wrote, seems photography is lots of opinions. It absolutely is.
Yeah, but that's what, when we were looking at that, and actually one of the things we did that I thought was very interesting is then we started looking at YouTube videos that were highly ranked about the subject, right? And then you'd watch them, and you watch one where the person's shooting, and they said, here's the video on how to do great portraits, and they're using a 50, and then they're doing everything wrong.
I know. Erik and I are watching this.
Everything they were doing was wrong, and we were like, no. But yet that was a #1 video on YouTube.
It was
the
huge,
#1,
crazy, like
everybody watching
views.
it in the comments is going, great, awesome, thanks.
I just learned so much.
I'm going, no, this is like the opposite of what you want to do. You don't want to shoot with a 50. You don't want to shoot. They were shooting down low. Like you don't want to shoot down low.
Yeah, you're shooting
like
portraits from a low angle and stuff. But here's another thing, and I want to help you get to the answer for this, because I don't want to just go learning photography is hard. Okay, and I don't want to tell you my opinion's right. It's not that kind of thing. But it was interesting, and this is here's how I want to help you to get good information. I'm one up. I must have said something really poignant.
Getting serious now.
I do want to help you, because my job is to help people get better photography. And this is going to sound mean, and I don't mean it in a mean way. But before you take someone's advice about anything in photography, look at their photographs. Take a look at the photographs. So in some of these videos that Erik and I have seen, some of the photographers are really good. They're lights out. And when I see that, I go,
I better listen.
I better listen. Like, for example, there's a guy that I think is really good, Danny Diamond. He writes for F-Stoppers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he puts up a picture, you go, oh,
wow. Yeah.
That guy really knows portrait stuff. And if Danny Diamond says something, I go, you know what? This guy, if he says it, it's right. Yeah. If Joe McNally says something about flash, I look at Joe's photos, that guy's right. But I think the problem is so many articles, the information is either, it's opinion, but it's opinion from not good photographers. They
just have like some following or just ranking.
Yeah,
or
it's like you're looking at their pictures and you're like, my kid can take better pictures than this.
Well, that is a hard thing with this, is also, like you said, you've trained yourself to know what is a good photo, what isn't. I think that's what I noticed in the comments a lot of times, where there's people who were saying this is great photos because it's better than me just taking a snapshot. It was a little bit better than that, but it not a great photo. It was not a great photo.
And also, sometimes, yeah, like Eric and I watched this video together. We're literally sitting at lunch and we're watching the video and we're both just gasping because
how is this number one?
Let's say he had, I'm just making up a number. I swear I don't remember. Let's say he said 13 great tips or 4 great tips. Like 75% of them were like, oh,
no.
It was like, that's, but here's the thing. It would be one thing if he backed it up with great photos, because if he backed it up with great photos, you'd go,
oh, better listen.
Maybe I should change my mind. But the photos were cruddy. They were really bad. Like you'd hear the little clicking sound and you'd bring up the picture and we'd just go, that's not a good picture. That's a bad picture. And it's like, we know the difference. You know the difference. But it's almost like,
do we really know the difference? That's another thing.
Okay, so that's kind of leading me to my next thing, is if you really want to be able to find somebody whose opinion you trust, number one, I want to learn from a good photographer. If you're going to take flying lessons, you don't want to take lessons from the guy that says, well, I crashed my last couple of planes on landing, but it's okay. I know how to do this.
I've just never landed before.
Yeah, I never landed. I was thinking about landing.
Thinking about it.
You know, I've read a lot about it. I have a flight simulator at the house, and I always land.
I know all the technical specs of the
No,
the
you
plane.
want someone who's landing all the time like a boss. Like, just a critical thing. So it's just, I am stunned, and I'm stunned at the comments.
Yeah, it was
like, you find a video, it's all wrong, and people are like, this changes everything for me. This is great. And again, it has the power to change everything if the photos are great. And there's a lot of people out there that are teaching that make great photos, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if I want to learn aviation photography, you go to Moose Peterson, you're going to see the shots and you're going to go, this is the guy. I want to take photos like that. And I think that's kind of the core of it. But at some point, you guys, two things. You're going to have to learn what makes a good photo. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that everybody that has bad photos has bad information, because some of them have really good information, and then I see their photos and I go, why don't they take their own advice? Like, you know how to do this. Why are your pictures so bad? One thing could be, and this is true, nope, we're going to save it for when we come back. When we come back, I'm going to give you the last thing that could tilt the scales, and then we're going to bring on Marc. Marc's going to be joining us. He's a great photographer and a great author and a cool guy. He's got a brand new book called Create that I think more people need to read. So
obviously, if that's what a good photo is.
Stick around. We'll be right back where we reveal what that other thing is. Dun, dun, dun.
bring me into the... Yeah. You just bring me in. I don't have to do anything from my end, right? Beautiful.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Yay, we're back. Okay, so I'm going to answer that question, and then we're going to do something. My crew in the booth, I just threw them a curveball. So, and we're going to get to some of your questions or comments as well. So here's the thing that I said I was going to talk about on the break. One of the things that you have to be able to discern, and this is important, is sometimes in some of these videos, the person is photographing an incredibly photogenic person. Like they're shooting a professional model, and you really can't get a bad photograph of that person. But they're not good photographs. In other words, it's hard for you to look at the photo and say, do I like the person or is this a good photo? You like the person. They're very attractive. They've got great hair and styling, and they got a cool look. And the photos are but the person looks good. The person looks so good. You know, if you get some photograph, we all know people who are so photogenic that they just hold up their phone real quick and go, hold on, let me take a selfie, and it looks amazing. You get one of those people, and some of these people do. They hire professional models, and they look great in every shot, but the photographs aren't good. So I talked about this, and I would invite you to go do it. I think you can go watch this for free. Can they go watch Curse the Composition for free, right?
Yes, it's on the KelbyOne class. So.
I go into depth about the truth about subjects, and it is something I don't hear anybody ever talk about. It is a very controversial subject, but somebody had to kind of come out and say it, so I did. You can go to KelbyOne.com and sign up for the free level of membership. Go watch my class called Crush the Composition. And in there, I talk about a truth about the subject. I do a whole section about uncovering this truth.
And that's the thing, it goes across even any subject, you know.
Right, it's not just
you're
people.
Talking about people. Rocket. A rocket could be as interesting as, you know, it's just because it's a rocket.
It's an exploding thing.
But it's not in focus. It's not composed well.
You see bad shots of rockets
dimension all the time. But yet you see people going, awesome shot, or a landscape, awesome. But it's like, it's not a good photo. It's just an awesome subject. It's a bad photo.
So how do you start to recognize, because these all tie together. You have to be able to recognize a good photo, to recognize a good photographer who is then a good teacher. Because if someone is a good photographer and they're teaching and you see their images and you go, those are the kind of images I aspire to. I aspire to. I want to be like that person. You know, like I see some people's work and I'm like, man, I would love to be able to shoot like that. You know, it all ties together. Don't trust someone whose images don't look good. Why don't you find somebody whose images look awesome, someone that you aspire to shoot like, and take their advice? Because that's what I do. I look at, and if you want a great place to do this, well, number one, some of the people like it at f-stoppers, but also go to 500px first to start to get used to what good photos look like.
Yeah, I
mean, you go on 500px.
If you go to the popularity, like the ratings.
Yeah.
You look at the ratings. That community is pretty good about.
Yeah, they are.
Unlike Flickr or Facebook, you know, that community is pretty good about putting the top photos up top.
And a lot of the best people on 500 write blog posts and do articles or do podcasts and where they share their work, And then you go, yeah, I want to learn from that person. Hey, I want to do something, if you'll bear with me. I want to run part, not the whole. I want to run part of that Profoto ad that just ran. We're going to take out the music and we're going to leave our mics hot. And I want to talk about this. So let's go ahead and just run that ad. We're going to leave our mics hot. All right. And this is one of my favorite ads. I think their ad is absolutely brilliant. Awesome. But it's going to also drive home the point of how important the subject is and the styling and the very first shot. Look at it. It's like, and look at this shot. I mean, these are amazing
part. Well
I think,
composed. Yeah. Well, like the posing is awesome. The lighting is awesome.
Look at that one. I mean, look at the model. Look at the lighting. The whole. It's a great picture with a great subject and a great set. Look at this. These are amazing pictures. I want to learn from these people. These people that took these photos. Hey, it's Pacino. Is that Pacino?
Yeah.
That's what I want to learn from. You look at these pictures and you're just like, man. I mean, this is.
You aspire to that.
Yeah, you aspire to shoot shots like this, and this is full of these. And if I'm reading an article about photography and there's Tim Wallace. Hey, that's a Tim Wallace shot right there. Is. If you want to learn car photography, I don't want to learn it for some dude who's shooting cars in a parking garage somewhere in LA.
Just hack some YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, I want to learn from the guy that took that other shot. I want to learn from Jeremy Coward, I think, who took that shot. Look at that fantasy shot. That's one of my favorite ones in this whole thing right there. But anyway, we don't have to go through all of them, but let it run for just one more second. Look at that shot.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah,
that one.
These are these are who you want to learn from. They're such inspiring. Look, from the world's greatest. But bring up it one more time because it shows the names of the people. 1 second. It shows their names at the end, right after the Profoto thing. Those are the people. These are Lindsay Adler. If you want to learn fashion photography, Sue Bryce, Tim Wallace, Jeremy Coward, these people, you got to pick somebody because there's so many conflicting opinions. There's so many, you read one thing on one site and another thing on the other. This YouTube video says never do this. You'll see a video that says you should shoot in direct sunlight with the Sunny 16 rule. Put the sunlight right in their face. The next one goes, are you crazy? You never put the sunlight in their face. Hey, look at what somebody just wrote. Where was it? Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole saying, that was the whole reason why I joined KelbyOne. I kept finding conflicting opinions.
Yay.
That's really why we designed KelbyOne in the beginning in Kelby Training. There was so many conflicting opinions that you bring together when because you design all the curriculum and all the instructors and bringing them all together. You make sure that whoever's coming, their opinion is the valid opinion. It is the right opinion.
Yeah,
they're doing great work. Stuff you yourself aspire to.
Yeah, I watched the classes too. When I wanted to shoot automotive photography, not only did I watch Tim Wallace's classes, I took my iPad out on to the location where we're shooting, and I'm watching his class. Where did he put that light? I'm backing it up and stuff. But you know what? When you got to find somebody to trust. You got to find somebody that has the creativity, that has the lighting, the whole 9 yards, and I'm not just trying to say these are the only good teachers. What I am saying is, before you choose somebody, look at their photos. If their photos look great and they're teaching, you're learning from the right person. So let's read a couple of comments here.
So Jock's Photo is saying perspiration is more important than inspiration.
I think they're both really important.
Yeah.
Because I think without inspiration,
you don't want to shoot.
I think they go hand in hand, but I know what Jock's trying to say.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to say.
Hard work is what creates amazing photos too. It's not just,
Is there another one down?
Because hard work is really Dalton. There's a comment there from Dalton, but hard work is all part of it. Practice is a big part of it. Not just watching videos.
So Dalton's comment is, I feel like learning photography, like many things, is hard or as easy as you make it, especially with so many options from workshops, websites like KelbyOne, private instructors going to school. I think it's easier than it's ever been. The problem is that the need for instant gratification, and I think that's a big thing. People want it now, and sometimes with a lot of these videos, it's so easy to do what they're saying because oh, I can do that. I've got a 50 millimeter. I'll go out and shoot. And then it's saying, and that people expect to be amazed right away, and you'll never be amazed with anything without putting in the hard work.
Hey, by the way, a 50 millimeter is $125.
Yeah.
I understand why everybody likes it. It's a fast lens for $125.
Want it to be good. Like, people want it to be good for portraits.
Right.
They don't want to buy the 85, which everybody tells you to buy, or the 70 to 200, which everybody
Right. Sorry,
tells you to buy.
I'm getting a message here.
They want to do that, right? So, crazy.
A very famous person just wrote in and said, Scott, thank you for this topic. This is what I was talking about all the time in all caps. Hey, we're going to jump over to Marc.
Well, speaking of creativity.
Well, this is a great tie into it because the guy that we're going to introduce you to, and Marc has actually been a guest here on the show, and he's a great guy. He's a great photographer. He's a great author, and he's got a brand new book. Now, I got a sneak peek of it. Mm-hmm. He sent me the PDFs, and I got to look at it. Oh, I better put my cans on. But oh my gosh, so many people need this book because this is kind of the missing link for a lot of people. Because there's a lot of people, and I think some of the authors that we're talking about, they know how to run their camera, but they're missing the art of photography. So let's bring on Marc. Hey, Marc, can you hear me?
I can. Hey, Scott,
there
Erik.
You are. All right. Hey, how you doing?
I'm awesome. So great to be back with you guys.
Okay, can I say something? You're wearing the name of your book on your shirt.
Yeah, there it is.
Why have I never thought to do that?
There it is. It's even on the cell phone.
Shameless self-promotion, right?
Yep.
Hey, but you know what? You wrote a great book. It needs everybody needs to know about this book. So I'm with you, dude. You did a great job on gathering such brilliant people to come together for this. So tell us about the book, Rook. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I've been working on this book for about 40 years. I literally, this is my fourth book, but literally this has sort of been my life's work to try to understand, well, what's the anatomy of creativity and how can you increase it? So, going back to what you guys were just discussing, this whole idea of who do you listen to, who do you look to? There's so many opinions about creativity. I went to 12 of the most remarkable creative people that I could find in various different fields and interviewed them to try to find out, well, what worked for them, but also what you guys were talking about. What are some of the common misconceptions that people have?
Yeah, what are those?
Yeah, what would be the common misconceptions?
The number one misconception is that you're kind of either born with a creative gene or you're not. And that some people are creative and some people aren't. And I contend, and having talked to all these different people, that's not true at all. Creativity is something you develop, just like you were talking about, Scott. You have to develop your eye for photography. Maybe you're not born with it, but you have to find a way to discover what makes a good photograph.
I totally
do that.
I agree because there are certain people that are obviously born and they're talented. They're just talented musicians, they're talented singers, they're talented photographers. But there's a lot of people where it's kind of like a muscle. They need to, and they can get better.
Well, even those people born with the natural talent, they still have to hone that creativity. They still have to, practice it. Like you're talking about, build the muscle.
What are other misconceptions?
And there's a secret, if you don't mind, Erik, I could dive in on that. I actually talk about how you hone that muscle. Should I give that away now or later in the talk?
No, tell us now. Tell us. Now that you put it out there, you got to tell us.
All right. So real quickly, there are 5 stages to creativity. The first one is visualization. Now, Ansel Adams said the whole key to a photograph, what makes a photograph different than a snapshot is you first visualize it. Mm-hmm. You get the idea in your mind, whether it's in a split second, like Henri Cartier-Bresson did. He could visualize something in a split second and press the shutter at the right moment. Or maybe it took 9 hours for the clouds to line up like Ansel Adams did. It's still a visualization. But how do you strengthen your visualization? How do you know what to imagine? That's the secret sauce, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And here's the secret sauce. you go look, and this is what you're also talking about, look at great art. Look, whether it doesn't matter if it's music. I know a photographer, Joseph Holmes, who's a fantastic landscape photographer. And I said, what was your inspiration? He said, the Beatles. He went to the last Beatles concert at Candlestick Park in 1966, and he found it so energizing that it just shot him out into the world as a photographer.
Wow.
You never know where you're going to get that inspiration, but you have to find it from somebody who knows what they're doing, like you guys were discussing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you want to feed your creative inner beast, the best advice I can give you is be looking at art. Joey L., where's his inspiration? But Rembrandt. And you know, every one of these fantastic photographers and authors and musicians told me the same thing, that you can feed the inner beast by looking at art and taking art in, because that builds a library in your mind that you then, when you see something, you go, wow, that's pretty cool. I could do something like that too. That's just one little tidbit.
Wow. So what are the tools? Do you need a set of tools for creativity? Like, what are the kind of building blocks of this?
There's 5 things. So the first one is visualization. There's 5. Got to make sure I got the right number of fingers in. Visualization, you got to get it in your mind's eye. You get an idea before. Then you have to know your tools. And in photography, you have to know your equipment. Like you're saying, is it the 50 millimeter the appropriate lens? Maybe not. Maybe the 85 is more appropriate. Well, that's knowing your tools, right? You're not going to shoot everything with a fisheye. You're not going to shoot everything with a 400 telephoto. You have to know your tools. And so that's super important. Then you have to, once you've visualized, you know your tools, you've got to work your craft. You got to get out there and do it. Now, listen,
yes.
as silly as that seems, there's a major disconnect that I bump into is, well, I don't know. I'm not so good at writing. Well, how often do you write? Oh, well, I'm thinking about it. Listen, Stephen King sits down, he writes 2,000 words a day. 2,000 words a day, right? You're going to get good at it. And it's the same thing with photography. If you are shooting 10 images a week, how good are you going to get? If you shoot 1,000, you're going to probably start improving, right?
Man, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
You are on it. Yes.
Yeah.
You can't sit
and
watch YouTube videos and wonder why your craft isn't improving, because you have to work your craft.
Yeah.
Then the next stage is editing. You have to edit. But here's a big trick on that one. Don't edit in the middle of working your craft. Again, this was gleaned from, that was actually from David Campbell. You may not recognize the name. He's the father of Beck. But listen to this. He has produced or been involved with 425 gold and platinum albums. 425 gold and platinum albums. Okay? This dude has some cred, right? He said, don't stop yourself. When you get into motion, don't shoot yourself in the foot and start going, oh, I'm no good. This really sucks. Keep the flow going, because it will build up momentum. Then when you go back later, you do your editing, but don't edit when you're in the process of working your craft.
Absolutely.
That's another big misconception.
You are so right. You know, that happens to me when I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
Like I have to get in a zone, and I plug along, but all of a sudden, when you start doing it every day, you get into a zone, and all of a sudden, I am like, things are flying off my fingers. And and you do have to get into a rhythm and a zone. And they joke about it here at my office, is like, oh, he's in the zone. But if I'm in the zone, man, I can just go, and I'm loving it, and I'm having fun. But if I were to stop and go back and start rereading and editing it would destroy the zone. It would kill it.
Absolutely.
It would kill it.
Well, it's like when you're out on a shoot. You don't edit your work when you're out on a shoot. You just capture, right?
Right.
Capture. Whether it's video or stills, You just want to get that stuff in there. And then when you go back to the studio, now you're going to do your editing. Totally separate process. When you cross those two over, you're headed for trouble. So uncross them. That's that stage of editing. And then the final stage is sharing your work out into the world. And by that, I mean in many different ways, not just on social media, but get your work out there. One of the most, to me, the most important things about being a photographer is hanging your own work, right?
Yep.
Get prints made with beautiful frames and hang that work. Don't just let it live in a computer somewhere. That's not going to satisfy your creative urges, right?
All the pictures in Eric's office and on my office, they're all our own stuff hanging on the walls.
I've seen them. They're beautiful.
And Eric's got rockets going off on his walls.
Mine looks like one big explosion.
This looks like one big explosion, his whole office. But no, you're right. All of this stuff is just so speaks to me. I love this. And your book is awesome. It's this in a book, and it's so great.
It's so dead spot on. And I think that's what happens is people, they kind of pick and choose those 5 things, and they kind of focus on one, or they don't put it all together. And the one up front, the visualization, I think, is where a lot of people are. They're passing right over that one of being able to visualize.
Well, that is the real secret. I've interviewed, I don't know, probably 100 photographers at least, and every one of them brings that point up, visualization. Chase Jarvis made the point of, look, when you go out on a shoot, don't even look through your camera at first, because that already constricts your vision. Go around and look at the scene and see where the light is and what triggers something. Then get your camera out. And too many of us go, boom, put a camera right in front of our face. We've already reduced our view down to this tiny little opening, right? It's this big when it should be this big. Because that's, right? So, and that's true not just in photography, but that's true in any creative field. Get your visualization, get your vision there first. Another big tip, is get a notebook and use it. I am the most notebook happy person you've ever seen because I'm always jotting down my ideas. You have those flashes of inspiration, and if you don't put them down somewhere, they just fly right out the window. Mm-hmm. You go, what was that idea?
Well, we both do that.
We both do that.
Yeah, well, the notes on our phone.
I use the Notes app on my iPhone.
That's what I use, and it's just constantly full of stuff.
I have hundreds of notes, not of individual notes. I have actual notes that have names, and then inside those, all kinds of ideas, because you never know when inspiration is going to strike.
Yeah, like I have that with rocket photos shoots that I'll have, or Milky Way, or landscape, and I've got different subfolders for everything. When you'll just get like an idea in your head and it'll pop in, you got to write it down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I bump into a lot of people who say, "Oh, I'd really like to write a book." Okay, why don't you start with writing your own notebook, right? That's where my books begin. Scott, you probably do the same thing. My books begin with a notebook and jotting down ideas.
Well, that's funny. My live tours come from that. So my live tours come out of that. When it's time for me to do a book, I actually write an outline. I'm old school, man.
Outline, it's kind of notes.
I write an outline. Here's what's going to be in chapter 1. Here's what's going to be in chapter 2. Because then it's the blueprint for the book. And I always tell new writers, like, write an outline. But my tours come from my notes. And then my books come from writing an outline. We're going to jump to break, Marc. Do not go away. We want you to stick around. But I want to tell people, we didn't really read the tagline for your book because it is called Create. But I think the tagline really describes what the book is about. It's called Create: Tools from Seriously Talented People to Unleash Your Creative Life. And there it is right there. He's holding the book cover right there. And
I didn't realize I was holding it up.
I'm sure it was an accident. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to be talking more with Marc just right after this. So don't go away. I love what you're saying. Say more of this when we come back.
Got plenty more.
Hi there, KelbyOne members. Corey Barker here with Master Effects Training, and I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to be bringing some of my exclusive Master Effects Training content to the KelbyOne library. I'm very excited about this because we are going to be exploring things like 3D effects, compositing effects, and other special effects, giving you an arsenal of creative techniques that you can utilize in your own work, taking it to the next level. So I hope you'll join me in checking out my newest projects here at KelbyOne.com.
image restoration has always been one of the most rewarding things you can do in Photoshop, because it's not just, like fixing a tear, it's more fixing a memory. And then you present it to either a family member or a client, and they just look at it and, their eyes fill with tears or whatever it is. It's just, of anything I've done in Photoshop, it's by far the most rewarding. In this course, you'll learn how to deal with many of the common problems like faded black and white photographs, faded color, tears, rips, unwanted elements like tape and writing. We'll even talk about how to deal with missing body parts. If you need to fix someone's face or replace a hand, you can just borrow it from another photograph. Back in the old days, many photographs were tiny like this, so the challenge is, how on earth do you take something like this and turn it into an 8x10 photograph? So we'll talk about how to calculate the correct resolution so it's easy to take a small photograph and make it big. It's definitely a skill that takes some time to learn and really get good at it. And once you do, then it becomes a skill you can share with other people and repair the photographs for other families and help them restore their memories as well. Generations to come will look at these photographs and go, wow, that was taken in 1902 and it looks pretty darn good. If you want to learn key techniques to bring life back into old photos, please join me for my new class on image restoration, only on KelbyOne.com.
Hey guys, Christy from Shark Pixel here, and I am super thrilled to be bringing you a brand new class all about actions. So if you're a regular Photoshop user, you have a certain set of things that you do and apply to every single image that you work on. Well, if you do something more than 5 times, you need to have an action for it. So that's why this class is so important. It's going to teach you all of the skills that you need to know in order to let Photoshop do the work for you and working smarter and not harder. So in this class, we are going to get really advanced with the actions that we create. We're also going to start compounding actions where we literally layer multiple actions on top of one another. And then also we're going to be doing complete start to finish actions for skin retouching. So come check out my new class where we take actions to the next level, only on KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back, right?
We are back, yay.
Yeah, we got people joining us all over the world still. We got Erik saying hey from Amsterdam. We got Amir saying hey from Bosnia. We have Stefan from Austria. We got Natalie from Ottawa, Ontario. We got Rich all the way from Alaska. We got Janet from Connecticut. Monica from Ontario, Canada. And I got Mariana from England, Stuart from Scotland, Kale from Texas, and Diane from San Diego in the house.
San Diego in the house. Hey, Marc Heaps, who is a Photoshop World instructor and a really good bass player and drummer. I didn't realize what a good drummer he was.
And a motorcycle rider.
A motorcycle rider. There's a lot to Marc. He's a very, very talented. Was talking about earlier what we said. So if something trends aggressively, can it become good? Because there are a lot of things good today that wouldn't have been good decades ago. That's true. Things like lens flare effects and stuff like that. But you know what? I heard somebody talking the other day, and they said, in all these years, the essentials of photography have really not changed. The technology has, but what makes a good picture, shadow, light, posing, like poses and things, even those haven't changed.
I mean, we do break the rules more nowadays, but
I think we do.
Still, you can tell a good rule break from a bad rule break.
Absolutely.
And just because you break a rule and be artistic doesn't make it a good photo.
That's true. Hey, we still have Marc. Marc's with us, and Marc is author of the book, Create, Tools from Seriously Talented People to Unleash Your Creative Life. That's the cover of the book right there. Before we go any further, everybody watching, go order this book. Don't go order another book on camera settings. You want something that'll actually inspire and change and motivate you? Go get the book Create. I'm sure it's at Amazon, the world's biggest bookstore, and Barnes & Noble, and anywhere cool books are sold.
It's in all those outlets. You can for sure just type in my name, Marc Silber, on Amazon. It'll come right up.
And it's Silber.
Yes, and it's MARC.
MARC, there it is, right there. So just go order it right now. Look at that. What a deal. $13. It'll be the best $13 that you've spent on your photography in a long time. Go order it. Get the Kindle version if you can't wait to get it shipped to you. It's $10 and 49 cents. There's nothing in photography that you can't even get a replacement lens cap for $10. This is something that will actually make a difference. It's such a good book. So, hey, Marc, can you tell us, because I know that you delved into the book, can you tell us some simple ways that you can increase your creativity for everybody?
Absolutely. Well, I've given you 2 of them already. So go to museums a lot, look at art, use your notebook. How about this one? This one will probably surprise you. What if I told you that there's a way to increase your creativity by 60% that's totally accessible to anyone and costs nothing? And it's not something you take. It's not a pill or a drug or anything.
It's not a pill.
In fact, it's probably one of the most healthy things you can do. If I told you that, you might be surprised. But the answer is walking. There was a research project done at Stanford University in 2014 where they found, and they did test cases, that people who went out and did walks every day were 60% more creative than those who just sat in a chair. Now, how simple is that? And I have a whole chapter about walking because there's more to it than meets the eye. You know, when you walk, you've got to let your attention go out. Don't go on a walk with your iPhone in front of you and look down at the screen because that's defeating the whole purpose. But that simple little tool, and we do this as photographers, we go for a walk with our camera, which is awesome. And that's a very healthy thing to do. But just get out there every single day, especially in our digital age, because we become so prone to staring at one screen or another. Get out there and look at the world and take it in. Leonardo da Vinci recommended this. He also said when you walk, take your notebook with you and make sketches and notes of things that, again, spark your imagination. How about that for a simple creative tool?
That is awesome.
And that, a good segue there is if you want to get out walking with your camera,
yes,
we have an event for you to sign up for, right?
The photo walk.
Right.
Yeah, the Worldwide Photo Walk, the 12th annual Worldwide Photo Walk's coming up October 5th. You can walk around with other people who will watch your back while you walk. Yeah. You can take your camera, get outside. So if you haven't been walking, you can, that day you'll be 60% more creative. I love this idea. Absolutely. That is such great research. That I never heard that before, Marc. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's in the book. Hey, another big misconception is I don't have the time. I don't have enough time. I wrote a whole chapter on how to dispel that because what most people do, unfortunately, they don't view time like they view money. You know, if you're going to save up for a trip, you obviously have to put it somewhere and economize a little bit. If you keep blowing everything, you're never going to have the money left over to go on that incredible trip that you want to take. Time is the same way. If you blow it, if you waste it, it's like junk food, you know? You can have junk time, which is just, most of us waste too much time on the computer in front of a TV. If you allocate and budget your time correctly and view it as an investment or as a resource that you have, then it will pay dividends. And so I have a whole chapter, including how to really take your time and put it on a piece of paper and find out that you probably have about 20 hours a week left over for your creative activities. That's just sitting there. It's like the quarters under your couch. It's just sitting there.
There you go.
I love that analogy. It's like the quarters under your couch.
There's time quarters everywhere. They're just hidden all over the place.
I think there's a remote. I think my Apple TV remote is somewhere under my couch.
Somewhere, right? Well. That little one that's always getting
the
lost.
little black one. That's so awful. Yeah.
It's like our socks. They just go into some evaporation process into your dryer.
They do. So, hey, Marc, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say one of the most fascinating things was finding these different people. So in your previous note, on break, you were talking about Marc, who is a motorcycle rider. Well, one of the people I interviewed is Keith Code, who anybody in the motorcycle world immediately will recognize that name. He's the number one. He has a school called the California Superbike School that teaches not only the biggest and most worldwide classes, but teaches people like Tom Cruise and, all these incredible celebrities how to ride bikes, Brad Pitt. And anyway, I interviewed him, and he came up with this idea that you must always look at the amount of attention that you have. Every person has a given amount of attention, and this is really important for photographers. If you have to invest, he uses an analogy, you have $10 worth of attention, and you have to invest $9.50 of your attention on your camera. You've got 50 cents left over for your other creative skills, right?
Yeah.
But what if you get so good and so fluid with your camera where you're only having to invest 25 cents in your camera? You've got $9.75 left over for your creativity. This is a huge thing. That's why you got to know your equipment so well, as Bob Holmes says, that your camera doesn't get in the way of your photograph. And I think a lot of people do that. The camera gets in the way of the photograph.
Marc, can you say that again? I wasn't paying attention. Just kidding.
That was good.
How many?
I swear I could listen to you talk all day. You're such an interesting and engaging guy, and this must have been such a fascinating journey writing this book.
I'm still having the journey. You know what it is, Scott? Now that I've released it, I'm getting the feedback. And what I find I'm seeing where it resonates with people, like when I give a talk. And one of the places that I saw that it resonated, and I'll just throw this out, is I said, what we need to do is create a creative movement. Planet Earth could use that spark of inspiration. And what if we put ourselves together and actually began a whole new creative movement? Of course, you're doing that. Many of us are doing that. But what if we had an overall umbrella for creativity? I'll just throw that idea out and see what happens.
I love that idea. Well, you know what else too? Creativity, photography, it brings people together. Music, it brings people together all over the world. We have so many things that we have in common. We actually have, around the world, with everybody, we have way more in common than we do not in common, right?
Absolutely.
And things like creativity and art and all, these are the things that bring people together. These are important things. Yeah. And that's why I think being a more creative person, living a more creative life, and the thing that's going to stick with me forever today, Marc, is the $10 analogy.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
You spend $9.50. I'm going to have to steal that one. I'm going to have to put it on a shirt. $9.50. Who was that said that, Marc? Somebody said that to you, or
his name is Keith Code, and I have.
Oh, the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, he wrote a book called The Twist of the Wrist, which is the Bible of the motorcycle world, and he let me put that section of the book in my book. So you'll read that whole little quote in my book.
Wow, that is so great.
Yeah, and it's such a great analogy, because that's exactly with photography. When you release yourself of being so focused on the technical and you can invest more time in the creative, that's really where your photography goes up. Yeah, that's really where you see your work really starting to shine.
All right, I'm going to go do something. So Marc sent me the PDF of the book, but I'm going to go buy it right now.
Whoa, you're the man.
I want to get the print version. I still love print. I'm still a fan of print, and I want to find. Here it is, right here. And I'm going to get the paperback. Oh, I would love that. Buy now, done.
Boom.
All right, it's on its way. It's arriving September 9th with free Prime delivery. Woo! Place your order. All right. All right. Well,
I'm telling you, this book will change anyone's life, because listen, here's the other thing about creativity. It's not about just what we do with our cameras or if we write. It's about your whole life, as you said. Being a creative parent. Chris Burkhardt, I think we all know who he is,
sure,
right?
Of course.
The Phenomena on Instagram. I interviewed him, and he talked about how to foster creativity with your children. What a cool subject, right?
Oh, yeah.
And gave the tips on how to do that. So having a creative life means all across the boards. As a matter of fact, the original title of this book was The Art of Living, because I wanted to emphasize that creativity can go into your life itself. So if you're going to be a better photographer, it would make sense to expand that creative process in all parts of your life. Like you, Scott, playing music and all the creativity that you have enabled and empowered us to do. I can't thank you enough. Every time I turn around, I'm using something I read from one of your books.
You're very kind.
I'm being totally honest. It's true.
Well,
and
you know what?
That's a wonderful thing.
So here's what people need to do. Yes, you should buy Marc's book, but really what you need is some new camera gear.
That's you get that new Canon lens. I'm telling you, your photography.
I just bought a lens. Now I feel bad. I feel like I invested poorly.
How about this for some new camera
it's a tool.
gear?
It's a tool.
Here's
you
my
need the
Leica
tools.
from art school. It was my Leica M2, and this camera accompanied me everywhere. Isn't it just a beautiful thing? It's a work of.
It is beautiful. It is a work of art. There is something special about Leica cameras. You can always tell a really successful author because they have a camera. And as Erik will tell you, I do not have a Leica. I know that they're awesome. I've never met someone that has a Leica that isn't crazy about it. But hey, Marc, we have to do some giveaways. But thank you so much for taking the time to drop in and
you guys.
And tell us about your book. That is awesome. I can't wait to get you to sign my printed copy. And you are an awesome guy. We love having you on here. And as you know, anytime you're in Florida, we will clear the decks to get you back on the show.
You
are a delight. You are an awesome person. You're so. I'm so inspired of just doing an interview, and I feel like I want to go shoot. I want to go spend my $10 wisely. So thank you very much, Marc. Thank you so
Scott,
much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for.
Take care.
Thank you guys
Best
for
wishes.
joining me around the world.
Yeah, we got everybody's watching from all over today. So go to your local bookstore, wherever it is, and pick up a copy of this awesome book. Thanks again, Marc.
Thank you.
All right, we got some giveaways.
Yeah,
we have some
giveaways.
winners.
So the landscape book,
Yay.
we have AJ Grace. You've won the landscape book, and which is a awesome book if you want to get inspired about photography, about landscapes. And then the Platypod's going to Peter Holdman. You've won the Platypod. Just contact Christina in the chat, and she'll get you hooked up with those prizes.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, we have run way over time. We are 13 minutes over, but honestly, it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
I swear I love that guy.
I mean, it is. Like, everything he's talking about, you're like, yes.
Yes.
That's like a YouTube video you would watch and be like, I need to listen to that.
That guy knows what he's talking about. That's
Not
somebody
I
want to follow.
Oh, you should take the 50 portrait. No,
shoot it down low.
There are people that shoot. I don't want to say. I've seen shots with the 50 that are awesome.
It is true. I've seen portraits with the 50. But can I tell you something? I would never tell a friend who's getting into photography, shoot a 50. Never. I would say there are people who are really, really good. And you know what? Like, people will say, hey, Joe McNally shoots a 24 to 70. He's shooting wide angle all the time. You're not Joe McNally. Joe McNally is a special breed.
He's honed it.
He could take a coconut, like remember the professor on
he's got the muscle.
Gilligan's Island? Right. Joe could take a coconut and hollow it out and make a camera and take a better picture than any of us are ever going to take.
Never do.
Yeah. So the fact that somebody can do it doesn't mean that I would recommend it to anyone to do.
Correct.
At some point in your life, people get in this thing where they go, you know what, I'm going to use a 50. It's an exercise. But if you said you want to make somebody look beautiful, I would say run the hell away from a 50.
Just shoot because you could do something and doesn't mean you should. Boom.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought. You will find people on YouTube and everywhere else that will say, A, you should never shoot with a 50, and B, you should shoot with a 50. But here's what you will never find. Someone that says you should not shoot portraits with an 85, or someone that says you should not shoot portraits with a 70 to 200.
Yeah.
So there's a whole group of lenses that people, they're considered portrait lenses.
They call them portrait lenses.
When you get to 85, it is now portrait lens. They'll even say, what's the best portrait lens? The 85 will pop up all the time. You won't have anybody. I can tell you, I'm not saying it's never been done. I've never seen someone ever write, you shouldn't use an 85 for portraits.
Anyone that their work is good.
No, even work bad. I've never seen anyone.
True.
I have not read
I'm
someone.
sure we could find it.
So there are a few things that the world is in agreement about. 85 and longer for portraits is one of them. 50, can you take it? You could take a 50 you could take portraits with a 14 millimeter. You can do it, and there's people that have done it that have done very well. Would I ever recommend to a friend to do it? Heck no, and heck's not the word I wanted to use.
If you're starting out.
Right,
because
exactly.
you haven't honed the craft like Joe McNally has.
You spend 40 years behind the lens. You want to pull out a 14. You want to do a fisheye portrait. You
Sure,
go
for
Joe. Hey, by the way, just one thing about Joe. You know, Joe did a thing at Photoshop World called An Evening with Joe McNally. It was magical. I had to do Midnight Madness. I thought, I'm going to go sit in for 5 minutes and I got to go get ready because I knew I had a bunch to do. I could not get up. I could physically not. Larry Becker was sitting right in front of me, and Larry's like, don't you have to go? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, Larry, don't you have to go? Larry's the host of Midnight Madness. I'm on the panel.
Yeah.
And I literally, I could not get up to go. It was so good. Joe is just, you know, he is a national treasure of photography. He really is.
But he does those 5 things. So you can see that he does those 5 things.
Oh, yeah.
He can see it.
He visualizes it.
He sees it.
But he is, I would say also that Joe is a tremendously talented, creative-wise person.
Yes.
Joe comes up with ideas, and then he calls Linda Mastro, his wonderful, wonderful producer, who's been with him for many, many years. And then he has someone, like Joe will say, I need 2 elephants, and they need to be in the desert, and I need a showgirl, and I need this. And Lynn somehow makes it happen. She is just an amazing...
But then they go out and actually do it.
They do it.
Know?
They don't talk about it. They don't read about it. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Awesome. Big thanks to Marc Silber for joining in. And thanks to my crew who are all staying after here because we ran over now by 17 minutes.
Yes.
And we have... And Mike is now... Mike was helping with the show today,
Mike
right?
was helping with the switching.
All right, and Dark Request was right behind him. Speaking of Dark Request, don't forget to go onto Instagram and follow
the Digital Surgeon.
The Digital Surgeon, which is Dark Request. There he is, the Digital Surgeon.
Look at there's laser beams.
He's at 422 followers, so we have a little bit to make up to get him to his 1,000. So tell your friends. But I'm telling you what, he's a good photographer. He's a very good videographer.
You know who is? If you follow _Juan
Alfonso, over 1,000,
and he's got some. Look at
that. He's still continuing, and look at these shots.
Yeah.
So did you tell people you were out doing a class on this?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Erik was out in the middle of nowhere.
We showed some stuff last week,
and that's some behind the scenes stuff that.
Look at that stuff that Juan Alfonso.
I've seen some of Erik's finals. Ooh, they're crazy. Look at these things.
Yeah, we got some great stuff last week.
Is that a rocket going off over there?
That is a rocket.
What's that doing on your page?
It's a plume of rocketness.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And thanks to everybody all around the world who was watching us today. We're very grateful that you watched. Thank you very much. Next Wednesday, Erik will be here. I will be on my way to China. Yeah. So I'm going to Guilin, China.
We got some guests coming on next week, right?
Who we got next week?
We'll see.
We put Christina on the spot.
But I think we're going to have some Skypeage.
Oh, am I Skyping in?
No, you're not.
I was going to say, I think I'll be in mid-flight. I got a long flight from Atlanta to Seoul, South Korea, then from Seoul, South Korea to Hong Kong. Oof. And then a couple of days later from Hong Kong to Guilin.
Seoul, that's got to be at least like 14, 15 hours.
14 hours and 40 minutes.
Ouch.
I don't care.
And a day.
I really, plus you gain a day. You know what, though? I could care less. You know what? Because when I get off, I'm someplace amazing.
You're going to go someplace amazing to shoot.
Yeah. It doesn't scare. You know, the longer the flight, I'll sleep. I'll watch movies. I'll bring stuff on my iPad. I'll write.
The crew's like, why can't we just go home?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more, though. Let's chat a little bit more. Do you know who our guests are next week? Did you find out?
For next week?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you were going out of town. I was flying that day.
Oh.
All right,
I leave on the 11th.
We'll
is that Wednesday?
Somebody for next week.
Let's go see me. It is Wednesday? Yeah, so I'll be, that's my flying day.
Well, guess what?
That's my flying day.
There'll be somebody cool.
It'll be somebody cool. It always is.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, you guys. Thanks to Juan and Dark Request and Mike and Christina, all of our sponsors. See you guys next time when I get back from China. Come see Erik next week. And remember, I love wood chippers. Wood chippers.
I want to see awesome wood chipper shots.
Wood chipper. Hey, did I tell you I got a new lens? I bought a new lens. Came in today.
Awesome.